In last class, we discussed about the classification of photo devices. In that, we discussed the light emitting diode as photo source. In that, we discussed the construction and operation of light emitting diode. Today, we discussed about the one more photo source. It is a laser. It is also a light source or photo source. Why? Because it emits the light. This laser diode stands for light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. This laser diode is also a p-n junction diode and it is made up of gallium arsenide materials. It is a heavy doped p-n junction diode with two mirrors in the opposite ends. You can observe this construction of laser diode in the diagram. Here, one mirror is polished with the metal from the outside. It is called back mirror. It is a semi-transparent mirror. The other mirror is fully transparent. It is called front mirror. Whatever the light emitted by the laser is passing out from the front mirror only. Yes, the operation of laser diode is similar to the light emitting diode, and the light emitting diode is spontaneous emission, but here it is a stimulated emission. So to get the stimulated emission, here we are using the two mirrors. These two mirrors are used to convert the stimulated emission to convert the spontaneous emission to the stimulated emission, and it also amplifies the photons or light. Yes. So when you are applying the forward bias to the laser diode, the holes are moving from p region to n region and electrons are moving from n region to p region. That means holes are moving from valency band of p region to conduction band of n region, and electrons are moving from conduction band of n region to valency band of p region. Yes. When holes are moving from valency band of p region to conduction band of n region, it will not recombine immediately. It will stay for few nanoseconds of time. This time is called recombination time or higher energy level stay level. Yes, when electrons are moving from conduction band to the valency band of p region, then it will recombine with the holes and it will release the energy in the form of photon energy. That energy is equals to the He2F. We know in this that photons energy is H into F, or we can say it is Hc by lambda. So the wavelength of photon is lambda. Yes. So when energy or light or photon is released, it is a spontaneous emission. It is same as light emitting diode. Yes. So now the main difference between the LED and laser diode is stimulated emission. So in laser diode, we are getting the stimulated emission. This stimulated emission is getting due to the two mirrors used in the laser diode. Yes, this stimulated emission are coherent photons released by using the front mirror and back mirror. Yes, the released photons from the spontaneous emission are trapped in the p-n junction until their concentration reaches to the threshold value. These released photons are reaches the particular threshold value. When threshold value reaches, these trapped photons are stimulated the excited electrons to recombine with the holes even before their recombination time. This results the release of more photons that are in the exact phase with the initial photons, so that the photon quantity will be amplified. Yes, once concentration of photons goes or reaches the above the threshold value, then they escape from the mirror and it become a monochromatic coherent light. Yes, so the spontaneous emission is converted into the stimulated emission by using the mirrors. These mirrors are converting the spontaneous emission to stimulated emission. Here, these laser diodes are operating at larger forward bias voltages. Due to this high level injection carriers will occur. So, due to this high level injection, population inversion can be achieved here. What do you mean by population inversion? In which number of electrons excited state will be greater than the number of electrons in the ground state. Yes, it's a condition in which number of excited number of electrons in the excited state will be greater than the number of electrons in the ground state. This is called population inversion. It is occurs due to the high level injection. This high level injection occurs because of higher forward bias voltages. And stimulated emission is nothing but if a metal is an population inversion, if a photon of wavelength lambda falls on the material, then incident photon will stimulate an electrons to return from the conduction band to valence band, and thereby another photon of same wavelength lambda is emitted. Yes, this is called stimulated emission. When stimulated emission occurs, one photon will give two photons and two will give four and four will give again 8, 8 will give 16. So it is a multiplied number. This is called light amplification. Yes, this stimulated emission and light amplification will present because of only two mirrors, back mirror and front mirror. Yes, due to that, laser diode will emit the monochromatic light and these all the photons in the light have the same wavelength or same frequency. Yes, These laser diodes properties are light is stimulated emission are monochromatic and coherent one. Second one is it is a high directional light. The beam is very narrow. And applications of laser. These laser diodes are used in the optical fiber communication and consumer electronics, medical electronics. Another one is 3D image cutting also. This is about the laser diode. Next we will discuss about the direct and indirect bandgap semiconductors. Based on the energy and momentum diagram, semiconductors are divided into two types, that are direct bandgap semiconductors and indirect bandgap semiconductors. Otherwise, you can say EK diagram. E means energy, K means momentum. Yes. So we know kinetic energy equals to of mv square, and we can write it is multiplied and divided with the m. We can write mv square, mv whole square by 2m, k square by 2m. So we can write E equals to k square by 2m. It is like a parabola equation. E equals to k square by 2m. So k is nothing but m into v, it is the momentum. So it represents the parabola. Yes. So the energy versus momentum graph resembles the parabola. You can observe in the diagram here. First we will discuss about the direct band gap semiconductors. If the minima of conduction band and maxima of valency band occur at same point, or at same point at same point of momentum, then such kind of semiconductors are called direct band gap semiconductors. In direct band gap semiconductors, a free electron present in the conduction band and directly recombined with the hole in the valency band. This is called direct recombination. When an electron returns to the valency band, energy released in the form of photons or light. Therefore, direct recombination is also called as radiative recombination. Yes, the energy of released photon is h into f. Otherwise, we can write it is equals to hc by lambda. Here h is the Planck's constant and c is the light velocity. Lambda is wavelength of photon. It is all discussed in the previous video also. During the recombination, direct recombination, the energy of released photon will be at least equals to the band gap of the semiconductor material. Yes. So here you can observe the minimum of conduction band and maximum of valency band. Both are present at the same momentum, same k value. Yes. So in the direct recombination, the energy of released photon, it must be greater than the band gap of semiconductor material. So we can write it is equals to hc by lambda is greater than or equals to Eg. So from that we can write by substituting the Planck's constant and light velocity, lambda is less than or equals to 1.24 by energy gap in electron volts. The result will be in the form of micrometers. So these direct band gap semiconductors are used in the fabrication of LED. Examples are gallium arsenide and gallium arsenide phosphide. These are used in the fabrication of light emitting diodes. So gallium arsenide is used in the infrared LED and gallium arsenide phosphide is used in the visible light LED. It is already discussed in the previous videos also. Gallium arsenide is a direct bandgap semiconductor. The energy bandgap is about 1.42 electron volt. So it is used in the fabrication of IR LEDs, tunnel diodes, high speed VLSI devices. The structure of gallium arsenide This gallium has, it is a third group element. So gallium has 3 valence electrons and arsenic has 5 valence electrons because it is a fifth group element. The compound gallium and arsenide, the compound material. When a compound of gallium arsenide is formed, covalent bonding will occur. Yes. So the 3 electrons in the gallium and 3 electrons in the arsenic will form the covalent bonds. The remaining 2 electrons in the arsenic form the covalent bond itself. Yes. 3 mutual covalent bonds formed through the mutual sharing of electrons, whereas fourth covalent bond will contain the electrons of contributed by only arsenic. At 0 Kelvin, all valence electrons are present inside the covalent bonds. Hence, conduction cannot occur and it behaves as an insulator. It is common to all the semiconductors. At 0 Kelvin, all the valence electrons are present inside the covalent bond only. So, conduction cannot occur. It acts as an insulator. If temperature increases, a few electrons get thermally excited and move into a free space. Thus, free electron and hole pair will be created. These will be act as a electrical charge carriers. Yes, you can observe the covalent bond structure of gallium arsenide. Yes, 3 electrons of gallium and 3 electrons of arsenic form the 3 covalent bonds, and 2 electrons of arsenic form the covalent bond also. So how can we create the entire material by using the gallium arsenide, and how can we create the p-type material by using the gallium arsenide particles? So here silicon is used as a impurity in the gallium arsenide. So when I consider the intrinsic semiconductor silicon and germanium to make the p-type materials, we are using the third group and fifth group elements. But coming to the gallium arsenide compound, it is acting as a semiconductor material. To make the entire material, we are using the silicon as impurity material. So, if silicon displaces the arsenic, then it will create the hole. It acts as a p-type material. Otherwise, if silicon displaces the gallium, then it will act as a n-type material. Yes. So here it is a gallium arsenide is a compound. If silicon is adding to the gallium arsenide, then silicon is displaced the, if the silicon is displaced the arsenic, then it will create the hole, so it will act as a p-type impurity. If silicon displaces the gallium, then it will act as a n-type impurity by donating the one electron. Coming to the practically, silicon cannot displace the arsenic because atomic radius of arsenic is less than the silicon. Hence, when silicon is added, it will displace only gallium atom. It puts three electrons into the 3 bonds and donates the fourth valence electron into the crystal. Thus, free electron concentration increases, so material becomes n-type. So coming to the practical, silicon can displace only gallium, so it can act as a n-type impurity dopant, so it can create only n-type material. How can we create the p-type material? To create the p-type material, we we are using the group 2 elements such as beryllium, magnesium are used as a p-type impurities for the gallium arsenide. These beryllium impurity will be displaced the gallium. It fills up 2 covalent bonds, but third covalent bond remains incomplete, which act as a hole. Thus, addition of group 2 element will increase the hole concentration, then it will act as a p-type material. Yes, to make the p-type material, we need to use either is a beryllium or a magnesium. To make the entire material, we are using the silicon as the impurity atom. This is about the gallium arsenide, and in that gallium arsenide, beta material and n-type material. Yes. Coming to the indirect band of semiconductors, if minimum of conduction band and maximum of valency band occur at the different values of momentum or k, then such kind of semiconductors is called indirect band of semiconductors. For the diagram, the minimum of conduction band is present at the K1, the maximum of conduction band is present at the K equals to 0. Yes. So minimum of conduction band and maximum of valence band are differ. So this is called indirect band gap semiconductors. The examples of indirect band gap semiconductors are silicon and germanium. So in indirect band gap semiconductors, the recombination takes place in two steps. Free electrons moves into the intermediate level by changing its momentum and energy. Then electron moves from the intermediate level to the valence band by changing the energy. Such two-step recombination called indirect recombination. During this indirect recombination, energy will be released in the form of phonons or heat.